Wilbrook, Sales Director, Spectrami in the UK. I'm joined today by Jason Dance, Founder and Managing Director of illapa Cloud. Welcome, Jason.
Thanks, Will.
People may not be aware of who illapa are, so can you just start by saying why you founded illapa, and then we can go into exactly what illapa is?
Yeah, absolutely. So illapa is best described as a cloud service provider. Effectively, what I identified, there was a difference in the technical and commercial construct with the way that an IT department would build on-prem to how a public cloud provider would deliver their service.
Okay, by on-prem, do you mean private cloud, or is it a bit of private cloud and a bit of just sticking some kit in a data center? Is that the same thing?
There's that definition of cloud. Do you know what I mean? So when I say on-prem, it's basically it's in the corporate environment.
So private corp IT, and that would be predominantly now people are building on a hypervisor platform, so VMware or Hyper-V probably.
Yeah. Stick OpenStack in there as well.
Okay, yeah. Okay, and they've got the challenge also, or the other thought is you can go up into the public cloud. So GCP, there's others as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're looking at addressing the problem of how people choose where to go, or?
So a number of things. First of all, how do you make an informed decision about where to position a workload if you've got two completely different technical and commercial models between the private and the public estate?
It's very different and difficult, and that's the challenge that people are having now, and that's where they're finding their cost models wrong. Absolutely. And that they're spending far too much money here.
Yeah.
And then they've not invested here because the theory was to go.
Well, initially, public cloud, the perception was it was cheap.
Yeah.
Okay. But of course, is only time will tell whether which one looks like it has the better cost performance.
Yeah.
So, so the idea is I take exactly the same technical and commercial concept of the public cloud, but make it available in the private estate, and then couple that with a management platform that gives you full visibility of both.
Okay, so if we talk about the type of workloads that people are using, and who within the organisation is consuming this service, be it this service or this service, that's changing because the way that DevOps is now starting to take a foothold means that IT is different to what it was 4 or 5 years ago, because people they're not just developers writing applications and then IT teams putting things into production. That's changing the way that cloud's used.
Yeah, so again, if you think about our personal lives, and professional lives, in a traditional way, it would have been the IT department that would have managed, decided on the applications and presented the applications to the line of business. Obviously, with the public cloud, and if you start to look at, in particular, SaaS, but like you say, is if it's a development team, then it could easily be platform as a service or infrastructure as a service. So now what you've got is a mixture of IT departments themselves consuming public cloud, and you've probably heard the term shadow or stealth IT, where you've got line of business operating outside of the governance of.
So we stick some of those up on this side of the board then, the type of people who are consuming the services.
Yeah, so if I just draw them as a laptop effectively, but so traditionally you've got your subject matter expert or your IT department, and seen as a cost center, they would be managing the private estate, and they may be pushing some workloads up into the public cloud.
Yeah.
But then say is you've now, again, if you think about it, is you may have somebody in sales that has decided that they're now going to be using SFDC in here, and corporate data now sitting in the public cloud.
Yeah.
Okay, is that acceptable? Is that GDPR compliant?
You shouldn't be asking these guys that, but that is, why did Salesforce.com grow as quickly as it did? But exactly because of that, because people over here went and made the decision to go, I want to use that, I'm going to consume it from here, and it's outside of corporate policy.
It was ease of use.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you think about it historically, you'd have had to then tunnel back into ask this guy permission, have an agent on here to get back into the corporation. Now you can then just HTTPS straight into the public cloud from anywhere in the world. Okay, so it was simple to consume.
Yeah. Okay. And I guess there's another bucket around the cost center here. Who's managing these costs and helping do that? While the IT department will have a budget, are they in complete control of it?
Well, again, I'm sure you've heard the term shadow or stealth IT, where the line of business is basically consuming resources outside of the IT budget and with outside of the security and governance provided by the IT department. So again, this is one thing that when designing the management platform and the construct of illapa is how we were. We're not going to get the toothpaste back in the tube. These guys, they're
here to stay.
They're here to stay.
Yeah.
Right? This is here to stay. So the only thing we can do is turn around and say, okay, we've got to now give these guys visibility of what these guys are doing. Okay, and the only way you're going to do that is have a common management platform.
Right. Okay. So we've been talking for a couple of minutes now, and we're talking about problems.
Yeah.
Yeah. We haven't been talking about a solution to that, but I guess it's interesting. Where does the word or the name illapa come from? It's quite an interesting little snippet to throw out to the people watching.
Yeah, so illapa is a Peruvian weather god,
right?
And obviously, cloud is a weather pattern.
He's the controller of the clouds.
So you said, who better to control all the clouds than the weather god?
Which leads us on nicely to say, actually, what is it that illapa does? And I'm going to draw this now where I see it. Now I know that you see it slightly differently, but from an understanding perspective, I see that illapa puts this management framework around clouds.
Yep.
And all of these clouds, and that's these environments here, the public cloud, whichever one, all of those. And while this isn't technically the right place to put it from an understanding point of view, if we put illapa in here, everything that this organisation does here can be controlled and managed through illapa, regardless of where it sits.
So, if you look at the services, the public services that are available here, if we focus on the infrastructure element, okay,
Yep.
so where you've commoditized up to and including the hypervisor, you're absolutely right. Okay, so we are completely agnostic from a cloud perspective and agnostic from a hypervisor perspective. So what we're able to do is look at your public estate and your private estate and present that to the user as HTTPS.
So where previously these guys couldn't access their own data center in the same way, you can do now because you're going through illapa.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a massive advantage already for organisations.
Yeah, so basically, if you have some converged infrastructure with a virtualization layer here that you would historically access locally from a management interface, you are now able to access exactly what you think from the cloud. You'll be able to access that from anywhere through HTTPS.
Okay, and where the stealth, the shadow IT teams going out and just provisioning workloads out here.
Yeah.
Does it have any control over that? Can it stop that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's not too much we can do for SaaS. Okay,
No.
But you're absolutely right. If we have, and we're drawing another, let's turn around and say we're down here, and we've got a department that historically was spinning up virtual machines in an IaaS environment. Yep. Whereas historically they were going direct to here. Okay. What we can now do is we can ingest these credentials of the public cloud into our management interface, so we don't stop this user from self-serving. But what we're now doing is we're bringing them into the interface, and therefore providing the IT department full visibility of what they're doing in here.
And that's role-based, so you can set it so that people have to be approved to be able to build those workloads, whatever they are, whether it's a Windows server, whether it's a Linux server, whether it's I know that there's some appliances that you work in, the vendors, so you can't just spin these workloads up without approval through the certain channels.
Yeah, I mean, it depends how your company is structured, but yeah, fundamentally, we've got very, very granular role-based access, potentially so that an individual has only access to a certain cloud and a certain workload. So if they tried to do anything outside of that, they would basically, the system wouldn't allow them to do it. If they have a budget, they can work within the budget, and if they try to go outside of their budget, then we can put governance in place that would then effectively, they can go and build the machine, but it would then prompt the approver to actually go and authorize the completion of it.
Okay, so we now start talking about some of the benefits and how illapa can help organisations, and I think we're bringing together control of this environment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. I think that's the biggest thing. We're ultimately helping to manage costs. We're giving role-based access. We're giving far better visibility about what people have got, so they can make more informed decisions.
Yeah.
So, where people have spoken previously around hybrid cloud, and your hybrid cloud is your link between these two, it's almost like what we're saying now is this now becomes our
one cloud. Yeah.
It's our illapa cloud.
Yes. And we're not turning around and saying one is better than the other.
There's a place for both of them. I think
the classification of the data is going to dictate. Do you know what I mean? Is latency is going to dictate. There's a number of other things that are going to actually dictate where the workload is best positioned. Life cycle of the machine. Do you know what I mean? If you're in a production environment and you've got a perpetual machine, it's possibly going to be better to have it here than here. But what I'm turning around saying is, through visibility, and you will be able to make those informed decisions.
Okay, so we've been talking for I don't know 5-6 minutes now about this, and this is a really in-depth product, and it gives a load of value. We're not going to do it justice just behind this whiteboard.
No.
We're talking about what's the best way for people to learn more about illapa and how it can help them.
So, as you'd expect with effectively a SaaS product, we have a very, very easy route, which is you can sign up for a demo.
Excellent.
We offer a 30-day free trial. We can white label it, so the interface we can white label it to the brand of your choice.
Yep.
And
that would have access to all of these cloud providers and more.
So you can do. When it comes to the public cloud, we ingest unique credentials into our management interface. So if the trial wanted to access their own instance, they would need to ingest their own credentials.
Yeah,
but
you're not giving them free AWS.
No, exactly. But in terms of private, we have a demo pool that is made available through the trial, and that actually has VMware, Hyper-V, and OpenStack.
Okay.
So and obviously as part of this, we have an instance library. And as you say, we're starting to build out the instances within the instance library. So very, very quickly, you'll be able to have full visibility of the estate that you want to have, and be able to start provisioning instances into any of those environments.
Excellent. Well, thanks for joining us today, Jason. It's been very informative.
My pleasure.
And hopefully we'll get some people sign up for a demo and learn more.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you.